Hi, everybody. Welcome back. Today I'm going to discuss OER, which is Open Educational Resources, and Open Pedagogy. Specifically, I'm going to look at 4 parts. 1, what are the defining characteristics of OER and their instructional benefits? 2, what is Open Pedagogy and how is it shaping teaching and learning? 3, what are the most widely recognized OER platforms currently available? And finally, what does OER adoption look like here in Texas and within my own workplace here at Sulphur Springs ISD? I also try to connect these ideas to our previous course topics like AI, Web 3.0, and XR to show how open learning fits into the larger evolution of educational technology. So let's begin by defining what open educational resources are. OERs are teaching, learning, and research materials that are freely available for anyone to use, adapt, and share. Dr. David Wiley, one of the pioneers of open education, explains that OER are materials either in the public domain or licensed in a way that gives users free perpetual permission to engage in the 5 R's: retain, reuse, revise, remix, and redistribute. Retain basically means that they can keep and control a copy of that resource. Reuse, they can use it in any new context that they need to. Revise means that they can adapt or modify it to the needs of their students. Remix means they can combine it with other materials, and redistribute means that they can share it again with others besides themselves. As Wiley puts it, free plus permissions equals open. That means not all online textbooks qualify as OER. If it's a digital textbook, it can be read, but not legally modified or shared. It's free, but not open. An OER textbook, like those from OpenStax, carries an open license that grants full permission for educators to adapt and share this material. Let's look at the instructional benefits of OER. OER offers significant benefits to educators and learners alike. When I was researching, I found 4 main ways that this really helps educators. 1 is affordability. These open educational resources eliminate costly textbook barriers for students. I work in curriculum. I see every day how much curriculum is increasing for our K-12 education. And so having these open accesses that don't cost an arm and a leg for our teachers is so important. Flexibility is also crucial. The teachers being able to tailor the content to fit the local context and the students' needs is amazing because we have so many students that are on different levels. If we can take what's already available and adjust it to the needs of our students, we can be more well-rounded educators and create more well-rounded students. Equity inclusion is the next portion I found, which basically shows that the materials can be translated, remixed, or localized to represent diverse voices and cultures. I work in a district that is primarily Hispanic, and I have a lot of students that come in, they do not have any English language acquisition yet. If I can take these documents that are created and vetted, and I know that they're appropriate for my students, and then translate them into a language that makes sense, I'm going to get my students more actively involved. I can show them a side-by-side of the English and the Spanish translations, which just means that they're going to have better English language acquisition as they move up the grade levels. The last is collaboration and innovation. Educators can co-create and continually improve shared resources. I've said this before in my other presentations that we are one person in a classroom, and the more we can collaborate with others through these resources, the more we're going to be able to give our students, because our brains only think one way, and same with our students. So if we have somebody else that thinks, oh, I could, translate this in a certain way, or, oh, I think this model would be better suited in this type of material, or I think we should present this in this way to the student rather than the way that's written in the text. It builds our classroom environment. Wiley reminds us that education is sharing. If you're not sharing, you're not educating. And that really leans into that idea of that collaboration. We've got to continuously be sharing with each other, sharing ideas, sharing resources, sharing materials so that we can really create a good education system. When I connect this back to some of our previous units that we've studied in this course, I specifically looked at Web 3.0 and connectivism for this topic. In that unit, we saw how knowledge flows through networks of people and technology. OER directly supports that model by creating a decentralized ecosystem of learning where resources aren't locked behind paywalls, but freely circulate, allowing teachers and students to connect, share, and build upon each other's ideas. This also created a connection to when we were looking at AI and personalized learning. In our AI module, we explored how intelligent systems personalize learning experiences. OER aligns perfectly with this as well. AI can adapt instruction dynamically, while OER allows educators to adapt content design, adjusting reading levels, language, or examples. Together, they create a synergy between human creativity and machine adaptability, making learning both personalized and equitable. We saw this whenever I created my unit with Diffit AI. This was an open platform. I did not have to pay for access to these materials. I was able to use the materials that are available to me within my classroom and my teachers' classrooms. I could then adapt it to the reading level that I needed. I could adapt it to the language that I needed for my students. OER and AI really do work hand in hand. Now let's shift from open resources to open practice. Open pedagogy is a teaching approach built on the values of collaboration, transparency, and learner agency. David Wiley originally defined it as the set of teaching and learning practices only possible through OER's 5R permissions. Later, Wiley and John Hilton introduced the term OER-enabled pedagogy, describing teaching methods that are only possible or practical in the context of open licensing. Other scholars, such as Alec Witt, have broadened on this idea, stating that open pedagogy is any pedagogy informed by practitioners' conscious identification with the open movement, open access, and OER. In practice, open pedagogy shifts students from being consumers of content to creators and collaborators. For example, a student might co-author an open textbook, create digital resources for future classes, remix or localize OER for their communities, and engage in renewable assignments that live beyond a single semester. As the Year of Open initiative explains, open pedagogy invites students to be co-creators of knowledge, engaging in authentic learning experiences that have impact beyond the classroom. Again, I wanted to connect this back to what we've been learning. And I specifically, with this one, looked at the idea of XR and immersive learning. When we studied XR and immersive learning, we saw how technology can make students active participants rather than passive observers. Open pedagogy echoes this same philosophy. Whether students are creating interactive XR projects, contributing to shared OER collections, or publishing their work online, they're a part of the learning environment that values creation, collaboration, and contribution. Both XR and open pedagogy transforms learning into an active participatory process. Now let's look at some of the major OER platforms that are available in today's market. There are several large-scale platforms that have made OER adoption easy and accessible worldwide. The first one is OER Commons. This is a public digital library for lesson plans, open textbook, and teaching media. There's also OpenStax, available through Rice University. It offers peer-reviewed, openly licensed college-level textbooks. This would be great for our students that are doing dual credit programs to have access to whenever they're conducting their research. The next one is MERLOT, which is a California State University project with large peer-reviewed repository of instructional materials. The last one is OLI, or Open Learning Initiative. It's through Carnegie Mellon University, and it provides data-driven, interactive, open courses. These platforms demonstrate how OER has evolved into a global infrastructure for accessible and equitable learning. So here in Texas, the state has taken meaningful steps to promote OER adoptions. The Texas Education Agency, or TEA, has released state-owned OER textbooks aligned to the Texas Essential Knowledge and Skills, or the TEKS, in key subject areas such as K-5 reading and language arts and K-8 mathematics. I also believe that moving into next year, we will be creating more of those adoptions in ELAR, moving it up to 6th grade. These materials are free, customizable, and district adopting them can receive $20 per student in state funding to offset any printing costs. We currently are under one of these adoptions. It is called Bluebont Learning, and at our district, we do use it for K-5 ELAR. We are hoping again to move it into 6th grade next year, and we currently use the math adoption for K-6. Again, looking to move that up to the next grade level next year with 7th grade. And I can attest, the funding has been there through grants and adoptions to help offset any cost. It is a print material available partially online too, and teachers can take it as a scripted text, or they can adapt it. They can manipulate and find other ways to implement certain learning procedures or add in things that they already know have worked to help with that. But it creates a really good outline that follows along with the TEKS to ensure that teachers are teaching to the level and rigor that they're needing to. At Sulphur Springs ISD, we're still in the early stages of a formal OER integration other than Bluebonnet, but we do have a clear and structured review process in place. Here's how it works. So teachers or staff submit a Google form request through the curriculum page on our district website. Here in just a second, I will show you how we access that and some of the parameters that we use to help ensure that we're creating good quality open educational resources for our teachers. In the form, they describe the resource, instructional purposes, grade level assignments, and a few other areas. Once submitted, our educational technology coordinator receives an email and shares it with our curriculum and technology directors. Together, we meet as a team and review and discuss the resource to ensure it's meeting the district standards, privacy, and pedagogical guidelines. I have been in on these conversations this year and helping with making sure we're creating good adoptions. And I can say that our process, we are very detailed. We vet everything. But one of the problems is that we are a small team of only 6. That's not including our technology department, which is only 5 additional people. So we have all of this plus our other jobs that we are doing. So it is a process for us to get through all these and vet and make sure that they are meeting all of our guidelines. After that review, the program is either approved or denied, and the results are communicated with the requester. We are looking and working on purchasing a partnership with One EdTech, which will streamline the process of automating some of the vetting steps. This will reduce the workload on our small team and help us more effectively evaluate some of the OER and educational technology tools that are available. While Sulphur Springs ISD does not have a district-wide OER adoption framework, this process shows real progress towards thoughtful, transparent, and collaborative integration. Following the stages of awareness, access, adaptation, and application will help us move from individual resource request to a sustainable district-wide OER strategy. So as I stated earlier, I'm going to show you our program request form. This was developed by our educational technology coordinator, Alyssa Butler. She has been instrumental in helping me learn quite a few of these technologies as well. So whenever we get to our curriculum page, we have our teachers go to the instructional technology tab and request a program. We have some parameters and some understandings of requesting that new program or tool and what type of things they could be looking for. And then we have a Google form for both curriculum material, Google tool request, and any iPad app requests that we have for our younger grade levels. Right here, you'll see, I'm going to open this into a larger. So when I open this to a larger, we can see it will record the teacher's email so we know who is requesting it. They'll request the date, what campus they currently work with, their name, subject area, content area, or group that they're requesting this for, what's being requested. They need to provide the name of the product being requested. Is the requested program/curriculum accessible through Clever, or as we are recently moving into ClassLink for teachers and or students? And is there a comparable program or resource already in place? We don't want to overwhelm our teachers with too many things, especially if we already have a current adoption in place. But we want to make sure that we're also having the best quality one. So if there was a comparable one, they can still request this and find out for sure. And we can kind of vet and see, okay, is this a better program than another one? And then we'll give just some overarching information. The next thing we will ask is there a program or resource technology being requested as part of the curriculum, or is it actually for the learning? Teachers would select yes or no. Is this just a supplement, or is this going to be part of their overall use in the classroom that is increasing their curriculum? Let's say we choose yes for this one. Then we will ask them of how is the integration of the program and resource technology aligned to the existing curriculum, and how is it beneficial to students' learning? We really want to make sure, is this actually going to be a thoughtful addition, or is this just they're wanting a babysitter kind of thing? We want to make sure we're actually using technology effectively. And then the last portion is, of course, is there any professional learning or training that will need to be utilized to successfully implement the requested technology? Who's responsible for the training? And any other relevant information that they can provide for us to vet this program. After which they'll submit, and again, it will be emailed to our curriculum director and our educational technology coordinator. We will all, as a curriculum team and technology team, vet this, and then we will decide whether to adopt or not. So in conclusion, OER is openly licensed material defined by the 5 R's: retain, reuse, revise, remix, and redistribute. Open pedagogy turns those permissions into powerful participatory teaching practices, and platforms like OER Commons, OpenStax, MERLOT, and OLI make it easy to find and share quality content. Here in Texas, with TEA's open textbook initiatives and Sulphur Springs ISD's developing approval process, the foundation for open learning is already being built. Looking across our semester, OER and open pedagogy bring together the themes of all of our emerging technologies: AI, Web 3.0, XR, and OER. Together, these innovations redefine learning as a shared, participatory, and creative process where educators and students alike contribute to a more connected and inclusive world of knowledge. Thank you all for listening, and if you have any feedback, please let me know. Have a good day.